Hello, dear students. In the last period, we have studied about the molecular orbital theory. In the same theory, we are going to apply on cyanide Cn minus, and that is how we are going to study the formation or the formation of Cn according to the molecular orbital theory that we can easily understand here, my dear students. So let us start our study for let us start revising the molecular orbital theory for Cn minus, Cn and Cn minus. So let us start it. For Cn, you can see that the number of electrons you can see here, 6 for carbon and 7 for nitrogen. So total we have 13 electrons. These 13 electrons are filled in such a way that we have sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2, pi 2p x2 is equal to pi 2p y2, and sigma 2p z2. This is how, my dear students, it goes on, and we can understand that the bond order would be the number of electron in BMO, that is underlined with the green pen. So then total number of electron is 2 plus 2 4 plus 2 6 plus 2 8 plus 1 9, and the number of electron in ABMO is 2 plus 2 4, and that is why the bond order is going to be 2.5, and there is one unpaired electron, and that is why it is paramagnetic in nature. Same way, my dear students, here we can see that the Cn minus, when it is formed, this Cn minus has got this Cn minus has got 6 plus 6 plus 7, so 6 from carbon, 7 from nitrogen, and 1 from the minus charge, so that 14 electron. So it is like nitrogen, and as it is like nitrogen, you can see that the bond order is going to be 3, and it is definitely going to be, my dear students, diamagnetic in nature. By mistake here, I have written as a paramagnetic, so let me do the correction. It is going to be diamagnetic in nature, not the paramagnetic one, but we will have it as a diamagnetic in nature. So we will have instead of paramagnetic, we will have a molecule which is diamagnetic in nature. So Cn minus ion would be diamagnetic in nature, but not paramagnetic in nature. This is how we understand. Now we are going to study about the hydrogen bonding, my dear students. First, let us look at the definition. The attractive force which binds the hydrogen atom of one molecule with the electronegative atom F, O, and N is known as the hydrogen bonding. The cause for this hydrogen bonding, we can understand, my dear students, that when hydrogen atom is bonded to strong electronegative element like nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine, this nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine are very strong, strongly electronegative. That is why according to the definition of electronegativity, they have ability to attract the shared bond pair of electron towards them very well, and that is why it attracts the shared bond pair of electron, and that is why element like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, the electron pair formed between two atoms become more away from hydrogen, and it is more attracted towards the fluorine, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, nitrogen, or oxygen, and that is why the hydrogen become positive. So H acquires slightly positive charge, that is plus delta, and X, which represents the N, O, and F, acquires slightly negative charge, and that is minus delta. So there is slightly positive charge on hydrogen. There is slightly positive charge we represent on hydrogen, so it is a plus delta. There is slightly negative charge on X, so we can write minus delta. Again, we can have plus delta and minus delta, my dear students. Easily we can write them here. So again, we have the plus delta and minus delta. We can bring them here. We can even have plus delta and minus delta here. We can bring them here easily, and you can see that this plus delta and minus delta. So this minus delta and this plus delta have a attraction between them, and that is how there is a hydrogen bond possible between the H and nitrogen, oxygen or fluorine, and this is how we can understand, or this is what we can understand the cause for the hydrogen bonding. Magnitude of hydrogen bond depends upon the physical state of the compound. So if hydrogen bond is maximum into the solid state and hydrogen bond is minimum into the gaseous state, my dear students, hydrogen bond influence the structure of the compound. So ice has hexagonal crystal structure due to hydrogen bonding. Generally water has a band shape, but in the water molecule, each water molecule combined with the two other water molecule with the hydrogen bonding, and two hydrogen of the water molecule again combined with the two other molecule of water. So totally it makes 6 molecule of water, and thus in solid state the hexagonal structure of ice is possible due to hydrogen bonding, and this hexagonal structure of ice makes more space inside the molecule, and that is why the density of water is less than the density of water is more than the density of ice, or the density of ice is less than the density of water, though ice is solid. Even it affects the various properties of compound like physical state. You can study the group number 16. In group number 16, we have oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. If they react with hydrogen, they form H2O, H2S, H2Se, and H2Te. Dear students, due to the hydrogen bonding, water is liquid at room temperature, but H2S, H2Se, and H2Te are gases at room temperature. Though their atomic masses are high, but still they are gases. So hydrogen bond changes the physical state, or it affects the physical state. Boiling and melting point, my dear students. Melting point and boiling point of water are more than H2S, H2Se, and H2Te. This is also because of the hydrogen bonding present in water. Solubility in water, my dear students. Glucose and alcohol, they are not polar compound, but they still dissolve in water. They dissolve in water by forming the hydrogen bond with the hydrogen or oxygen of the water molecule, and this is how the hydrogen bonding increases the solubility in water. For example, if you look at the HF is liquid whereas HCl is gas. At room temperature, HF is liquid because in HF we can see that strongest or very strong hydrogen bonding is formed between the F of one molecule and H of another molecule, and that is why at room temperature HF is liquid whereas HCl is a gas. Now we have the various types of hydrogen bonding. My dear students, we have two types of hydrogen bonding. First one is called the intermolecular hydrogen bond. The hydrogen bond formed between two different molecules of the same or different compound is known as the intermolecular hydrogen bond. Till now, we have studied the hydrogen bonding in HF molecule, we have studied the hydrogen bonding in alcohol, or we have studied the hydrogen bonding in water. These all are the example of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. This intermolecular hydrogen bonding, how does it affect, my dear students? So intermolecular hydrogen bonding increases the boiling point, intermolecular hydrogen bonding increases the melting point, increases the solubility, and increases the thermal stability. Now we are going to study about the intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bond formed between hydrogen atom and fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen atom present in the same molecule is known as the intramolecular hydrogen bond. Example is orthonitrophenol, my dear students. You might have come to know up till now that if on benzene ring two atom or group of atoms are present on the neighboring carbon, they form the ortho compound, and here in orthonitrophenol, in one carbon we have NO2 group, in another carbon we have OH group. The oxygen of NO2 group and H of OH group form the hydrogen bonding, and this kind of hydrogen bonding is known as the intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Intramolecular hydrogen bonding decreases the boiling point, decreases the melting point, decreases the solubility, and decreases the thermal stability. So this is how, my dear students, we understand the hydrogen bonding. We have studied almost all the points regarding the theory of this chapter. Let us study a few questions. which are either the exercise question or extra question I have brought for you. The first question, orthonitrophenol has a less melting and boiling point as compared to the para-nitrophenol. My dear students, we can easily understand this by knowing this, that in orthonitrophenol we have just seen that there is the intramolecular hydrogen bonding, but in para-nitrophenol, my dear students, we have the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So intramolecular hydrogen bonding you can see here in this figure, my dear students. But when you look at the para-nitrophenol, there is a hydrogen bonding between the H of one molecule of para-nitrophenol and O of another molecule of para-nitrophenol. This intermolecular hydrogen bonding increases the melting and boiling point, and that is why the melting and boiling point of para-nitrophenol is more than the melting and boiling point of orthonitrophenol. My dear students, we have studied the various types of hybridization. Let us study about their S, P and D characters. In SP hybridization, we have 50% S character, 50% P character. In SP2 hybridization, we have 33.33% S character and 66.67% P character. In SP3 hybridization, we have 25% S character and 75% P character. In SP3D, we have 20% S character, 60% P character and 20% D character. But in SP3D2, we have 16.67% S character, 50% P character and 33.33% D character, my dear students. So this is how in the various hybridization we can understand about the SP and D character. Why CH4 is not square planar? According to the VSEPR theory, my dear students, the valence share electron, they repulse each other. So due to the valence share electron pair repulsion, the electron must be placed maximum apart. If we place them into the square planar structure, the bond angle is going to be 90 degree. But if they are placed into the 3 dimension at the angle of 109 degree 28 minutes, this is more or greater angle that is possible in 3 dimension. Maximum 90 degrees possible in 2 dimension. But if we think of the 3 dimension, we can have 109 degree 28 minutes, which you can see here into the 3 dimension. We can have this angle of 109 degree 28 minutes in 3 dimension. But in 2 dimension, my dear students, the maximum angle that is possible is 90 degree. And that is why if we think of the 2 dimension, then only this square planar shape is easy for us to understand for CH4. But as CH4 can be arranged into the 3 dimension, the bond angle here what we see, or the bond angle here what we can make is more possible. And that is why this bond angle what is possible in case of the in case of the CH4 molecule is 109 degree 28 minutes, which makes them the maximum apart in 3 dimension. And that is why instead of the square planar, CH4 is tetrahedral in nature. Now we have the change into the hybridization. We are given some reaction and we need to identify the change into the hybridization. First, we should look at the AlCl3, my dear students. When we look at the AlCl3, the Lewis dot structure, aluminum has got only 6 electron in its valence shell, so the octet is not complete, and it is the trigonal planar shape for AlCl3 with the sp2 hybridization. But one Cl minus which has 2 extra electron, when the Cl minus donate its 2 electron to aluminum, aluminum has got 8 electron present in it. So the octet of aluminum get completed, and there are 4 different orbitals, or there are 4 different bond pair present around the aluminum, which makes the hybridization sp3 and the shape tetrahedral. And that is how when AlCl3 reacts with Cl minus to make AlCl4 minus, the hybridization changes from sp2 to sp3 hybridization, my dear students. The same we can see into one more reaction when we have the reaction which is given as BF3 plus NH3, that gives F3B NH3. This nitrogen which was having the lone pair on it, this lone pair of nitrogen can be donated to BF3. If you look at the Lewis dot structure of BF3, boron has incomplete octet, and that is why, and boron has 3 bond pair, and that is why it has got sp2 hybridization. And in BF3, due to sp2 hybridization, when it reacts with NH3, the lone pair on nitrogen can be donated to the BF3, and thus the BF3 will have 4 pairs, 3 bond pair and 1 lone pair donated by nitrogen, and that is how with the 4 bond pair, BF3 turns its hybridization from sp2 to sp3, and it will have the tetrahedral shape, my dear students. Now we can move to the next question. Here we are given some molecule and we need to calculate the number of sigma bond and pi bond. First we are given C2H2, which is ethyne. You can see the structure of ethyne. In the structure of ethyne, we can calculate 1, 2 and 3 sigma bond, which is represented with the black dash, and 2 pi bond, which are represented with the red dash, red ink. So this is how, my dear students, we can easily find out the sigma and pi bond. In case of C2H4, which is ethene, you can see that we have the structure of ethene in which we have a 5 sigma bond. You can count sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, sigma 4 and sigma 5, and we have only 1 pi bond. So we can say that in ethene we have 5 sigma bond and 1 pi bond. Now, my dear students, we may be given the various molecules, and for each carbon we have to find out the hybridization. We have one rule, that if the carbon has all the single bond, then carbon is sp3 hybridized. If one of the if carbon is involved into the double bond, it has sp2 hybridization. And if carbon is involved into the triple bond, it will have sp hybridization. So let us look at CH3. All the carbon have all the bonds which are single bond. 3 single bond with hydrogen and 1 single bond with carbon each other. So both the carbon are present as an sp3 hybridized carbon. Same way when we look at CH3, CH double bond CH2, my dear students, the first carbon has 4 bond, which is sp3. The second and third carbon, they are involved with the double bond, and that is why they have the sp2 hybridization. We can even see a few more molecules, my dear students. Look at CH3, CH2OH. When you look at this carbon, it has got 1, 2 and 2 with H, total 4 bonds. So all the bonds are single bond, and that is why it is sp3 hybridized. This carbon is sp3 hybridized. When we look at the next molecule, CH3CHO, we can represent the structure of CH3CHO as CH3 C double bond OH. So this C double bond O represents carbon having sp2 hybridization, where CH3 is got sp3 hybridization. Same way in CH3 C double OH, acetic acid, the first carbon has got sp3 hybridization, but the second carbon is involved into the double bond with oxygen, and that is why it is the sp2 hybridized carbon. Now we are going to study the difference between the sigma bond and pi bond, my dear students. First, let us study the various points about the sigma bond. Sigma bond is formed along the internuclear axis. So it is always formed along the internuclear axis. Sigma bond is formed the orbital overlap along the internuclear axis. So there is axial overlap, not the lateral overlap. We can say that there is an axial overlap into the sigma bond. The rotation around the sigma bond is possible. The single bond is always sigma bond. So if there is single bond between 2 atoms, it is always going to be the sigma bond only, and molecule can exist only with the sigma bond. You can see that in CH4 or in ethane, all the bonds are sigma bond, and molecules with only sigma bond are stable, and sigma bond is stronger than the pi bond. Now, my dear students, we are going to study about the various characteristics of the pi bond. The difference between the sigma bond and pi bond is asked into the CBSE exam quite a few times. So I will suggest, my dear students, you to learn these points of difference between the sigma bond and pi bond. Let us look at the various points about the pi bond. Pi bond is formed perpendicular to the internuclear axis. The rotation around the pi bond is not possible. The s orbital cannot form the pi bond, it always form the sigma bond. Independent molecule containing pi bond do not exist. So only pi bond, or only if there is single bond, that cannot be pi bond. Pi bond is weaker than the sigma bond, and pi bond determines the bond length of the molecule or bond length between the two atoms. If internuclear axis is, now we have the next question. So let us study the next question, my dear students. If internuclear axis is x-axis, which of the following will not form the sigma bond and why? So here, my dear students, we are given the internuclear axis as an x-axis, and we have to find out whether 1s and 1s can form the sigma bond or not. So both the 1s orbital are spherical in shape, and they can make overlapping in either x, y, or z axis, and that is why 1s and 1s can make the sigma bonds, and that is why I have written they can. Now look, let's look at the next questions, my dear students. When we look at the next question, we realize that we are given a few more orbitals. Let us look at them. The next question we have is the 1s and 2px. You know, if we have the internuclear axis is x-axis, 2px orbital is also present on x-axis. So 2px orbital easily overlap with the 1s orbital and make the sigma bond, and that is why 1s and 2px can form the sigma bond. 1s and 2s, both 1s and 2s are spherical in shape, so they can form the overlap, or they can overlap in any x, y, z axis, and that is why they can even form the sigma bond on x internuclear axis. Then we have 2py and 2py. My dear students, here we have the x-axis, which is a internuclear axis, but y-axis is perpendicular to it, and both these 2py orbitals are present on the y-axis. So when these 2p orbitals are present on the y-axis, they cannot overlap on the x-axis, but they overlap perpendicular to the x-axis. So they cannot make sigma bond if the internuclear axis is x-axis, but they can form the pi bond above and under the internuclear axis. They cannot become, because 2py is oriented on y-axis, 2py is oriented on y-axis, so they can make lateral overlap on x-axis, but not axial overlap on x-axis, and here the x-axis is internuclear axis, and that is why they cannot form the sigma bond on internuclear x-axis. Now, my dear students, we have the next question. Let me read the question for you. Write the significance of the plus and minus sign shown in the representation of the orbital. So let us have a look at this question, my dear students. We can easily understand this question. We can easily answer this question. Orbital is the representation of wave function or probable area to find the electron calculated from the wave function. In the second chapter, we have already studied that orbital is the representation of the wave function, and it is the probable area to find an electron which is calculated from the psi or the wave function. So from this wave function, we can easily understood that wave function can have the positive part or negative part, or wave function have the positive value and negative value. So plus sign represent the positive wave function, and negative sign represent the negative wave function, my dear students. Now we have the next question. Explain the square planar structure in PTCl4-2. We can even write this question as explain dsp2 hybridization with the example of PTCl4-2. My dear students, PT, the electronic configuration is xenon 4f14 5d9 6s1. We have PTCl4-2, so we can write PT plus 4Cl minus is equal to -2. For PT we write x. So x plus 4 into -1 is equal to -2. So x minus 4 is equal to -2, and therefore x is equal to +2. So PT plus 2 is present in PTCl4-. Now we have PT xenon 4f14 5d9 6s1. If PT turns out to be PT plus 2, one electron from 6s and one electron from 5d goes out. So the electronic configuration can be platinum xenon 4f14 5d8. So let us look at the electronic configuration of PT plus 2, that is xenon 4f14 5d8 6s0. All the electrons from the s orbital have been removed. Now we have the PT plus 2 available for the bonding. In PT plus 2, PT belong to the fifth D series, and all the element in fifth D series have all the electron paired, or this halogen behave as a strong ligand for them, and they make their electron paired. So these all 8 electrons which are present in 5D, they are all paired, and that is why one orbital which is vacant into the 5D, 6s orbital is vacant, and 6p orbitals are also vacant. So by using the 1d, 1s and 2p, dsp2 hybridization takes place, and this vacant dsp2 in vacant dsp2 orbital, this Cl minus come and put their 2 electron or put their electron pair into it, and this is how PtCl4 minus 2, which is having the square planar shape, is being formed. So I hope, my dear students, you are enjoying your studies. Here we declare the chapter 4 chemical bonding to be completed with almost all the exercise question and in-text question we have discussed. I hope, my dear students, you are enjoying your studies. Happy learning.